In other news, Governor Uba Sani of Kaduna State says the insecurity in the northwest region is an economic problem brought about by hopelessness, poverty, and lack of good governance. Speaking at an interactive session with the Kaduna State Elders Forum, the governor advocated good governance has been key to ending insecurity. Public affairs analyst Mike Ejiofor joins us now to discuss the resurgence in kidnapping and banditry. He will also be looking at if there's a nexus between the rise in criminality and politics, given that Nigeria usually experiences resurgence in criminality, especially after elections and close to election period. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us on Arise News.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, let's start with this resurgent wave, of kidnappings, banditry. What would you say is responsible for what we're witnessing right now?
Well, there are so many reasons for the upsurge. One is economic reasons. Times are hard, but that does not justify criminality. Then you have the ideological terrorists who operate in the northwest and the north central without defining exactly what they want. And in the southeast, southwest, you can see that this has now become an industry. We used to say that it's a particular tribe that was involved in this. But, they are not working alone, they're working with the locals. And it's becoming an industry. And one is worried that if it escalates more than this, there will be a serious problem. If you recall, too, that there have been infiltrations, into Abuja suburbs. And if it's not checked and they come into Abuja metropolis, it becomes a big national problem.
So why does it seem like our security forces are helpless? Is it because they're complicit, or is it because they do not have the backing of government? What exactly could be the problem?
Well, one would not say that government is not backing the security agencies. If you recall that our budget for defense this year is the highest in recent times, that shows government commitment and concern, towards checking this menace. But like Oliver Twist, it can never be enough. You see, the budget that we have, over 70% is on recurrent, which is payment of salaries. The remaining one, you see the National Assembly for oversight, and the capacity of the police to deal with this problem is not there. Police doesn't have the necessary manpower to deal with this criminality over. The United Nations prescription is 1 policeman to 400. And in Nigeria, we're over 200 million. We have less than 400,000 policemen. And out of these less than 400,000 policemen, you also have people who over 120 of them deployed to VIPs. So they are handicapped. It's not the fault of theirs. But I'm also encouraged that the present police management and the Police Service Commission are working together to improve and recruit and improve the staff strength of the police. Like you said in your intro, you see, at the end of each political elections, you see upsurge in this criminality because the politicians who have armed some of these criminals to help them win an election, they have no job again than to, all what they have now is to go back into criminality. So before and after election, you have upsurge in criminality. But I believe that government too, we should not be calling on government alone. On our part, as citizens, we should be conscious of our environment. We should be security conscious. We should be vigilant and give information to the security agencies to assist us. So it's a collective responsibility. We should not just leave this into us. As it has come to this stage, we should not leave this into our security agencies alone.
But it seems that there's now a target, on traditional rulers who are not only abducted, but are also killed. What are your thoughts on this? How do we curb this?
Well, it's quite disturbing, very, very disturbing, because originally our traditional institutions, our traditional rulers are the people who keep our laws, who keep our community safe. But when you start targeting traditional rulers, it becomes a very dangerous dimension. Not only kidnapping, but killing them. And I'm also happy to note that some arrests have been made, and that will serve as a lead to our security agencies to know the people behind this, because you must be able to identify a problem before you start looking for a solution. What are their aims? What are their objectives? Who are they working with? Because if you find out that some of the politicians too are behind this criminality, because they arm these youths, arm the criminal elements to win election, and at the end of it, these arms float freely in the society. So it's quite disturbing, I agree with you.
Now, the federal government, recently reminded Nigerians that payment of ransom is illegal. But to Nigerians, that's not really realistic, because it seems like right now we are in a state of anarchy. Most times we hear the police saying that they've gone after the perpetrators, they will fish out the culprits, they will rescue the victims unharmed. But how many times, does that really happen? So I'm wondering, how do we break this vicious circle? Because the more we pay ransom, the more the kidnappings will continue. What exactly is the way out of this crisis that we find ourselves in?
Well, the way out is to prevent kidnapping from happening, especially this mass kidnapping. Because one, if somebody is kidnapped, it's only when you are kidnapped or a relation of yours or loved one is kidnapped that you know the pains of somebody undergoing such traumatic situation. So if you say don't pay ransom, it's criminal to pay ransom, yes, but if you fail to pay ransom, the life of the victim will be in the hostage will be in jeopardy. Don't also forget that these same people also collect ransom and at the same time kill their victims. So they are just out to destabilize the government and make government unpopular, and to show that government is not capable of providing security, which is the primary purpose of government. But I think all hands must be on deck. I'll re-emphasize that all hands must be on deck. Payment of ransom is optional. I would not discourage people whose relations are kidnapped from paying ransom. But if they must pay ransom, they should also cooperate with the police, with the security agencies, to ensure that at least at the end of the day, you'll be able to trace these people. You recall when the former governor of Central Bank, Emefiele's wife, was kidnapped. The money used was marked, and subsequently this money was traced. But because of fear and panic, members of the public whose relations are kidnapped will not want to get the security agencies involved, because the kidnappers warn that if you get the security agencies involved, they will kill their victims. So it's a very delicate balance, to pay or not to pay ransom. Over the weekend, I granted an interview, and it went viral that I said people should pay ransom. It's optional. If you want to say you don't pay ransom, you jeopardize the life of the government on this part say payment of ransom is illegal. Then you cannot provide or get these people released without paying ransom. So how do you balance the situation? It's a very delicate situation.
It is very delicate indeed. Now, earlier, you spoke about some people trying to discredit the government, and make it seem like the government is not in control. So are you saying that there's a political undertone, to this resurgence that we're witnessing?
Yeah, like I said when we started, we'll have the political dimension, we'll have the ideological dimension, we'll have the economic dimension. So it's a combination of all these factors that's responsible for this. Especially in the northwest, north central, you see the issue of mining, illegal mining of gold and solid minerals. These people are backed by criminal elements, and they have sponsors who, of course, some of them are politicians. And if you look at the economic situation in the country, some of them are looking at it as an industry now, because prior to this time, you see that people go to, the criminals go to other people's houses to rob. But as long as people don't keep money in their houses anymore, it will be fruitless to go and embark on robbery. So the best way to the best way to get rich now is through kidnapping and collection of ransom.
But Mr. Ejiofor, is it possible, that the fact that the Nigerian state itself seems to protect some of these people is part of the issues that we are facing? For instance, you alluded to the fact that some politicians, might be backing, these criminal elements in the mining sector. We also know that at the time we had a country, give us the list of some sponsors of terrorism in Nigeria. That list has not been made public, Could that also be part of the issue we are having? The fact that some of these elites, get away with these crimes?
But it could be part of the problems, but I don't have the facts, but I am aware that a list was made public. Some of them were even tried, brought down from United Arab Emirates, and they were convicted. But the issue remains, how many of our people here have been identified and prosecuted to its logical conclusion? And some of them who are even prosecuted and convicted, you see some of these security agencies granting them amnesty and even absolving them. At the end of the day, they go back to the site to continue to perpetrate. So it's political. It has a lot of dimension. We need to have a concerted effort, a coordinated effort on part of government to see that this scourge is brought to an end or reduced to a tolerable level, because there's no society without crime.
Very well said, Mr. Mike Ejiofor. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.